All right, everybody, welcome back to PAPO FLUENTE podcast. One more episode. Alan here again, one more week, one more episode, and I'm not alone, guys. I'm here with Teacher Atrielle. How are you today, my friend?
Hey, hello. I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. And again, thank you for being here, taking your time. We were just having a quick chat before we started recording, and you said you were like moving in, right? So thanks again. I appreciate
Oh,
you taking your
pleasure.
time and being here with me. So I always start these conversations like asking the guests to introduce themselves, like who you are, where you from, what's the story. So please go ahead.
Okay. So, as you said, my name is Atrielle. I usually tell the story of my name. It's a quick story.
Okay.
It's a made-up name. My mom was pregnant with me, and she
Mm-hmm.
used to watch cartoons.
Okay.
One day, she was watching He-Man. Remember He-Man?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I have the
And
strength, something like that.
yeah, that's right. And there is a character called Driel. And as my mom doesn't speak English at all, nowadays she says hello and bye, hi and bye.
Okay.
But at that time she heard Driel and she understood Atrielle, and here I am. Yeah, that's funny.
But
Yeah.
I,
So
I don't remember this character.
she is like a ghost. She flies. She is Gorpo's best friend, something like
Okay.
that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I am Ariely. I'm 35 now. I just
Okay.
became a mom 10 months
Wow.
ago. Yeah, I have a cute little pie who's sleeping now. His name is
O-
Ariel. It's been
Okay.
such an adventure
Nice.
to be a mom, to have a baby. That the motherhood is amazing.
Yeah.
What else? I come from the state of Minas Gerais. I'm
Nice.
Brazilian. I used to live in Minas, but now I'm living in a town in São Paulo state.
Okay.
I have already moved a lot. I have lived in many cities. In the middle of university, I lived in the U.S. for 6 months.
Wow.
I always studied English since I was a child. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
thankful to my mom because we come from a very small place and English was not an issue for most of the people. And
Mm-hmm.
back there in, I don't know when I was 9, my mom had the idea to pay for an English course for me. So she worked
Mm-hmm.
double, she struggled a little bit more, and she did that. And it changed my life because I
Oh
usually say
yeah.
English opened doors. It opened I can't say all the doors to me professionally in terms of making friends, traveling and living abroad. I'm
Mm-hmm.
such a passionate for trips. I love
Mm-hmm.
going to places. It can be a city near here or a country on the other side of the planet. It's gonna be such a thrill for me. So
Nice.
I've been teaching now for 14 years, something around that. In university, I took translation and interpretation graduation. Then I went for a post graduation in English teaching, and
Nice.
later master's degree in teacher training. It's
Good.
called SIT. Yeah, basically
Nice.
that. And I've been studying since I was a child. I intend not to stop because I believe languages, they are flowing, they are alive.
Oh
So
yeah.
Portuguese, English, Spanish, all of them, I am attracted to them. And linguistics also. So it's an ongoing process.
Exactly right. It's like it's what a journey you just shared, right? And I don't know, like some people they get stuck in that plan, like, oh, I'm gonna study English and learn, and then what's gonna happen after that? And as you said, like it's
Yeah,
an ongoing process, right? Like we never
it
stop.
is. It is.
Yeah.
No, that's
And
it.
I usually have like a quick game that I
Mm-hmm.
play with my guests. So it's called BS versus success. So I just say
Mm-hmm.
some things, and you say like if it's your in your opinion this is a BS or success.
Mm-hmm.
You got
Okay,
it?
go ahead.
All
I
right. So
did. I did.
I
I did.
I'm gonna start with a easy topic because I don't like controversial topics. All right. So in
Mm-hmm.
your opinion, becoming fluent in 3 months, is that a BS or success, and why?
Definitely BS. Come on. There's no magic. Like everything in life, if you don't sit and dedicate yourself, you won't get anywhere. So you can have a slightly idea of some useful phrases in 3 months if you do it every day, unless you move abroad and you get immersed in that language. So,
Mm-hmm.
no, just like some magic
Yeah.
sold on the internet. No, I guess I believe it's BS.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you said like even if you immerse yourself in the language, like moving abroad, you mentioned you lived in the US for 6 months.
That's right.
All right. And were you fluent when you moved there?
Yes and no. I had
Okay.
finished the advanced language course at a regular school in Brazil. I had a lot of grammar background, vocab, but that fluency, that flow, that
Mm-hmm.
fear that stops us from trying, the
Mm-hmm.
fear of making mistakes. So I can say that it was all a combo, the
Mm-hmm.
basis, and then I went abroad and I practiced for the 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and then I came back and I studied a little bit more,
Yeah.
and I've been doing that since then. So
Yeah.
uh, everything is important.
Yeah, I just asked that because I also lived in the US. I went there for
Hmm,
college. So, yeah, I used to play
nice.
soccer. So, I got a
That's so
scholarship to
cool.
yeah,
Hmm.
so I got a scholarship to play in a American college, and when I went there, to be honest, like I would say I was like basic or like lower intermediate, something like that, because
Hmm.
I really studied like for 3 months to get a score on the TOEFL test,
I
and that
see.
was it. So I needed like a 44, 45 score, and I studied and
Hmm.
I got it. And then I moved and I stopped studying English. Like I had this gap, like this 6 month gap before going to the US. So I haven't studied at all. And then when I moved there, it was so weird because even I was immersed in the language, I could kind of understand as time goes by. Like I started understanding people, but I wasn't able to speak, right?
Yeah.
So I spent like 1 year and a half there and I learned a lot. I developed the language a lot, but I didn't
Hmm.
consider myself fluent at the time. Like even being
That
immersed in the
feeling, a
language.
lot of students, they come to me and they say they've been studying English for a long time. They can understand what people say. They listen to songs, series, movies,
Mm-hmm.
everything, but they can't express themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a common feedback I get from students, from people who study languages in general. Like, it's not me when I speak a second language, so it requires. I usually tell my students, my English students who are Brazilian, I usually say, you have to be cara de pau. You have to take
Yes.
risks. You have to
Yes.
make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you learn, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You don't like definitely don't overthink, right? Just go for
Hmm.
it, try, make mistakes, and like
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. My next question would be: is studying English every day, even if it's a little bit, let's say 15, 20 minutes, but every day, like consistently, is that a BS or success?
Success. Success. Hard. Poor.
Mm-hmm.
You are gonna try to sabotage yourself. You will, because we are multitasking. We are in a very busy world. Our lives are busy. We have
Mm-hmm.
many things to do. But what are the priorities? And you can find the tool, the technique, the mechanism that is gonna be easier for you. The one that is gonna be more achievable. If it's downloading an app or and doing those English exercises for 10 minutes, then go for that. If it's
Mm-hmm.
getting a book and rereading it and taking notes, checking words in new vocab in the dictionary, go for that. If it's just
Mm-hmm.
sitting in front, but I guess it has, you have to find your strategy. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know how's your learning style. If it's taking notes, for example, me, Atrielle, I learn by taking notes, writing down and reviewing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
saying words out loud, post-its, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what works for me. So I guess every day would be a big deal, such a
Yeah.
success.
There you go. All right. So those people that they say English learners they should sound like natives. So do you think that's a BS or success?
Yes. Oh, that's a BS. Because first of all, there is no such thing as a perfect accent or native. Native from where?
There
Native
you go.
from Europe. Native from
Jamaica.
Canada. From Jamaica. Yeah. So come on, come on. I think I usually tell students go for what your style again. It has to match your personality. Yeah. Uh, for me, those people who have to change their voice, our voices naturally change a little bit when we speak
Mm-hmm.
different languages.
Yeah.
The intonation, the melody, the rhythm, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but you have to be yourself. So
Exactly.
yeah, yes.
Yeah. There you go. I love that. All right. Last question. Following Teacher Atrielle on Instagram, is that a success or BS?
I'm with success.
Yes, it is.
And I try to share. I'm not. I'm from 1988, so I am an immigrant
I'm
digital.
from
I'm not
89.
89. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
are immigrants, and we got adapted well because we had to go for the online. And nowadays, everything happens connected. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not an influencer. I'm not in Instagram or nothing like that. I usually think I unite two things that I like: teaching. So I think about my students' doubts, and I share some posts related to that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my passion for traveling. So I
Mm-hmm.
post a little bit about my trips, about my life, and English in general. So it's
And
a
that's
success.
great. I can
Follow
tell
me.
that's great, guys. So go check Teacher Atrielle on Instagram. It's a
Thanks.
great page. So you guys definitely will get inspired and learn great things. All right. So you mentioned, did you like the game?
I did. I did.
All right,
And I
good.
think if I can copy you, I intend to play that with my students.
Go for it. Go for it. All right.
So cool.
Uh, you mentioned like your mom put you in a English course when you were little, right? Like about 9.
That's right.
And I've taught kids before, and I know for them, like for some of them, they love it. Like I don't know if you teach kids as well, but some of them
I
they
do.
love. They're always like excited to be there. But for some of them, they're kind of like, oh, okay, my mom enrolled me in this course. I have to be here. Like they were kind of like that. So I believe you were the first case, right? So you like to be there. How was like learning English at that age for you? So how was the experience like as a little kid learning English?
I enjoyed reading, languages, literature, arts, all of these subjects
Mm-hmm.
from humanistic subjects. And I remember I was always into everything that is new and dynamic. So when my
Like,
mom had this idea and she took me there to have a trial class, I was like, wow. I remember I was in love with all the teachers every semester. Like, wow, how that person can speak this way and what do they do? Where do they go? I started understanding that it would open many doors since
mm-hmm.
child, the opportunity to make friends in other languages. I'm a talkative person, I guess that's one of the reasons I became a teacher. I
Mm-hmm.
love making new friends. I love becoming friends with my students. So uh, I remember being so small. They used to the classes was we used to be shown in a TV
Mm-hmm.
uh, and with the radio. Yeah, old
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
old style. And I remember this was modern for the time. So the radio and the teacher playing the CD or the tape and the
Yeah.
video repeating, repeating. I went for a school with a methodology very similar to, can I mention names here?
Yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah.
for it.
So I went to CCA for many years.
Yeah.
That was my first touch with English language. And then I realized it's very similar to Kumon, which I appreciate a lot,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
methodology, which is
Yeah.
repetition,
Yeah.
repetition. So for many years, it was like a passive input. till one day it became active. Nowadays, people simply don't have the patience for that anymore. People want
Mm-hmm.
English in a week, as you said, in 3 months, in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the world is different, but I don't know what happened. Now that you are asking, it's the first time that I think that for a child, going there every week, twice a week, and doing the homework, it was
Mm-hmm.
something funny. I liked that.
Yeah, and it's also teach you not only the language but also discipline, right? So
Hmm.
people take it for granted nowadays. Like they don't want to be disciplined anymore. Like
Yeah.
they just want to think fast. Oh, I don't have time for this anymore. So I just want to see a 15 seconds clip on TikTok with a
Hmm.
quick tip, and then I will become fluent. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, there's no
It
such
it, it,
magic.
it takes it takes a lot of work, right, to become
It
fluent in a
does a
language.
lot of effort.
Yeah, good. And what inspired you to become a teacher? Like when you decided to become a teacher?
These days, I was invited to an interview about it's Pedro. He's such a nice guy. He interviews people from different professions
Oh,
to
nice.
inspire other people to follow the same path. And
Oh,
when he
good.
asked me this question, like, what led you to become a teacher? And then I remembered me as a child again. I was maybe a preteen, and I have a brother and a sister. I have two
Mm-hmm.
siblings, Alan and Daddy. And I remember they were very small. They are 6 and 5 years younger than me. They were small, sitting in front of a chalkboard. My mom gave me a chalkboard, a blackboard, and I was there
Wow.
writing words, and I made them copy. They were sitting in little chairs, copying everything. So we used to play that we
Yeah.
were in a school and they were students. And then I always had this ability, I don't know if I can say ability, but the desire to share what I knew. So
Mm-hmm.
it was natural. When I entered my advanced course at this language school, I wanted to go to university and I wanted to do something related to English. Then I found the languages course in Brazil known as Letras, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
I fell in love with linguistics and teaching Portuguese for foreigners,
Mm-hmm.
basically. What else? Literature and translation and interpretation, which are other areas of my profession. So it was
Mm-hmm.
all integrated.
I love how your mom always saw these things in you, like having you in an English school, like in a little age, and then giving you a like a chalkboard, and like those stories are
Yeah,
just
yeah.
amazing.
I think she has no idea how important she is in all of that. Or maybe she does, but definitely it's her touch.
Nice. And you mentioned you also teach Portuguese to foreigners, right?
I do.
So how different it is like from teaching English, and what are the challenges? So I never had the experience of teaching Portuguese to foreigners. I know like some friends, they sometimes get interested in Brazil or learning some words in Portuguese, but it's different. Like I'm just sharing things, I'm not teaching. So what's the experience? Like how is the experience of teaching Portuguese for foreigners?
With a friend of mine who she's an English teacher. We used to work together. She came to Brazil from Hungary. She's Hungarian. And she
Mhm.
was already in Brazil when we met. I guess she was here for 2 years already. But her English was very basic. Her Portuguese,
Mhm.
sorry, was very
Okay.
basic. And she said, Tri, why don't you teach me? And then I was like,
Wow.
okay, I am a teacher. I taught some Portuguese classes when I was in university as part
Mhm.
of my graduation process, but I taught Portuguese to Brazilians. And Portuguese,
Mhm.
in my opinion, in terms of grammar
Yeah.
and verb tenses, it's
Mhm.
mind blowing, much harder than
That's what I
English.
thought. That's what I thought. Because
Yeah.
even for us, when we go to school and we learn Portuguese, like, man, it's
Yeah,
not
mind
fun.
blowing,
It's
isn't
hard.
it?
It's hard.
Hard,
Yeah.
hard. So what I thought is I have to think of a way to make it easy for her.
Mhm.
I've been developing my material to teach English for a long time, and then I did the opposite way. I used
Nice.
English as the communication language to explain things, like it's Hungarian. We it shares the English in common. And
Yeah.
then I usually tell students, let's, you know, pretend you were a child. There's no shame here. You were
Mm-hmm.
shaming me for making mistakes.
Yep.
That's what I tell my students. In real life, you don't
Mm-hmm.
wanna get things wrong. So do it
Mm-hmm.
here, and then we start little by little, just like when we learn Portuguese as our mother tongue.
Yep.
So alphabet, numbers, basic things first, and then we went for more elaborated things in
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese, and it was flowing. Nowadays, she speaks Portuguese very well. Her merit. She always dedicated herself a lot, but it was the first time. And then she told another friend that I used to teach Portuguese, and I started teaching, and then I built this material.
Mm-hmm.
I got inspired from many other materials, good things online, and good things offered from Brazilian universities, public
Mm-hmm.
universities. So I usually research a lot, and then I go to what's useful. Do
Mm-hmm.
the foreigner have to learn everything about the language? Not really. Is this person becoming a Portuguese teacher? Probably not. So
Mm-hmm.
I usually select the survival first, some traps of the language,
Mm-hmm.
expressions,
Sounds.
slang, sounds, and then that's it.
And I think it's really great if we make like a comparison on how uh, we should, or like how we can teach English for Brazilians. It's kind of the same, right? Because the survival English, some people say, "Oh, survival English," like it is a bad thing. But I don't think it's a bad thing at all. It all depends on the person's needs, right? So if the
Mm-hmm.
person wanna travel, or like visit a family member abroad, or do something
Mm-hmm.
simple, right? Survival English is just fine, right? Of course, you don't need to be satisfied with that. So, as you
Yeah.
said, it's an ongoing process, right? You should always keep learning and
Mm-hmm.
improving, but it's a start, right? It's a way to start.
Sure,
So,
sure.
this
I think
is.
first, after you break this barrier of
Mm-hmm.
fear of making mistakes, shame, and everything, once you take risks, you will the survival English or basic tenses or basic words, useful phrases. It will be the
Mm-hmm.
key for all the rest.
And one thing I find very funny, but like funny in a way, not negative, but
Mm.
some sounds that we have in Portuguese, they don't have like here, like in Canada, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like my friends, when I try to teach them like some sounds, they simply cannot say, right?
For
And do you
example,
have any, yeah, for example, São, like I say, I'm from
uh-huh,
São Paulo, and they say,
from
oh,
São
they say
Paulo.
Sao Paulo, and I said, no, it's not Sao Paulo. Sao is another word,
Yeah,
so it's
this
São.
nasal sound, right? Nasalize the sound.
Yeah, and also those, like, for example, NHO. For example, I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to a friend about soccer, and he said, I love Ronaldinho, man. And I said, no, man, it's not Ronaldinho, it's Ronaldinho. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, that's what I said, Ronaldinho. And I, no, 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 Ronaldinho. So do you have any techniques, or like anything, or is it really important for the person like speak like us to be understood, in your opinion?
At the moment, I'm teaching a Canadian
Oh,
guy.
good.
Yeah, yeah. He just moved to Brazil, and he
Nice.
wanted to practice his Portuguese. He wanted to
Mm-hmm.
learn and practice it. So I remember he was saying, every time I go to the bakery, I want to say quero pão, and
Yeah.
I end up saying quero pau, and I know they laugh
Yeah.
at me. And
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
first of all, don't care if they laugh. You
Yeah.
know, you
I
speak
just
two
did. I'm
languages.
sorry.
They speak only. No, no. I mean, uh, that's my. He says you are such a coach. You are not only a
Yeah.
teacher, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like
Exactly.
if he blocks because of that,
Mm-hmm.
he won't go further. So
Yeah.
uh, I usually tell him that okay, what's that you need? Do you need to say the word phone every morning? You do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's practice the sound, and then
Mm-hmm.
I list a bunch of words with the same sounds and repetition,
Mm-hmm.
drilling. We record and then he practices. And I usually tell him there's context. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the guy knows that you are not saying pau, for example,
Exactly.
you are saying phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we know that it's kind of complicated.
Yeah, and it comes to that first question, like that I asked you for the BS and success game. Like, do we really need to sound like natives? Like, as you said, there is the context, right? So the other day I saw a teacher saying, "Oh, because they asked him, "Oh, how do I know my teacher is a good one so I can hire him for or her for private classes?" And this teacher said, "Oh, ask him to count up to 10. So if they say 1, 2, 3, no, don't hire this teacher because this teacher is not good and blah blah blah." I say, man, really? Come on. Do you think if I'm counting, like people will think I'm saying árvore instead of the number 3?
Yeah,
You know, like I will say like
good
um,
example.
dois, árvore. Come
Yeah,
on, man. You
come
know,
on, come on.
it's it's so like those little things, right? Like I don't get it sometimes. It's hard.
I definitely agree with you. Um, I don't know. I don't even have another example because you said a great one.
And you mentioned that you visit 10 different countries and you have like the best places or experience that you had in these countries.
Well, it's so hard for me to choose the best places or my
So
favorite
choose
ones
some.
because um oh my gosh.
You said about
I
you said about Argentina, Buenos Aires, for example. What is like so magical, so exciting about
I
Argentina?
felt, of course, not 100%, but I felt safe there.
Good.
I could walk on the streets and I could have some experiences walking and just contemplating, sightseeing. I really like that. You know, simple
Nice.
things, slow down. It's a big city. Buenos Aires is a big city, like São Paulo, like New York. But I've been to New York, and I usually tell my friends, my students, you have to be there once, but then that's it for me because it's such a crazy place. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's cool. Of course,
Uh-huh.
there are many amazing things to do, but it's so crazy, so tiring, you know. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, for example, Ireland, I've been to Dublin and I've been to the countryside of Ireland, and I was in love. It's just like a movie because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the leprechaun is going to show up at some point, you know,
Okay.
nature and the green and the weather. England was another amazing experience for me because I'm such a big fan of Amy Winehouse, the singer.
Oh
So I
yeah,
went to
she was great.
yeah, her voice, her songs, her style. So I went to England especially because of her. I visited the neighborhood where she lived. It breathes a culture, so it was
Hmm.
so good. You know, hard to choose only one.
Oh yeah. All right. And you mentioned your bucket list. So what are the countries that you still want to visit? Like what countries you have this desire to know?
Oh, I forgot to mention that last year I had the chance to visit Sweden for the first
Hmm.
time. My brother lives there.
Okay.
It was a very different trip, different from the others, because I always travel by myself. And this time, last year, I was with my family. I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh.
So it was such a different thing. But um, I want to visit other countries near Sweden. I mean, the Nordic countries, because
Hmm.
one of my big dreams is to see the Northern Lines.
Oh, I
Northern
saw that.
Lights.
I
Yeah,
saw
you
that this
did
year. Yeah.
in Canada. How was
Yeah. I
that?
can show you some
Simply
pictures.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to see them. Sure,
Yeah.
Canada is on my list too. So Canada, maybe Iceland, countries around Brazil like Bolivia, Colombia. What else? I wanna go back to the US and visit Seattle again and
Hmm.
explore a little bit more Australia. Um, Scotland. I want to go to
Wow.
Estonia. I have a friend, a very good friend. He lives in Ireland, and he went to Estonia, and he showed me the pictures, and I was in love. I also want to explore Italy more because I just
Uh-huh.
been to Rome. Um, well, my list is long. I'm going to mention all the countries possible. I want to go to Africa. I want to go
Nice.
to Asia. I really want to go to Asia, and have a very different experience there with the food and culture and language. I like to put myself in my students' shoes. So when I go to a country where everything is new for me, like when
Mm-hmm.
I went to Budapest, everything was different. Hungarian is such a hard language. And I had English as a tool, just like in
Mm-hmm.
Turkey. I had English as a tool and I had to survive there. So I
Mm-hmm.
could find some ways to come back and tell my students, see, do this, do that. You are going to end up well. You are going to make
Mm-hmm.
friends and have nice experiences.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? We gotta be ready to speak with people from different backgrounds and different accents and different uh culture, right? So that's
Sure.
the thing. Speaking like a native. Native from where? Like the word
Yeah, yeah.
speaks
I remember
English,
when I
so
moved from Minas Gerais state to São Paulo state,
uh-huh.
people used to ask me, "Are you carioca?" I said, "Carioca? Come on, I don't say casca." "Oh, but are you baiana?" I said, "No, come on, guys, I
My
am
God.
mineira." And then I said, "Why?" They said, "Oh, it's because you pronounce a door in Portuguese, you say porta and not porta, and we used to think that mineiros say porta." And then I said, each state in Brazil is so vast. There
Oh
are
yeah.
so many types of accents in one state. So it's impossible to say it's just this or it's just that. Yeah.
Even like in my city, like where I'm from, São Paulo, like it's such a big city. Like you see,
Where do
you
you
can
come
hear.
from in Brazil?
I come from São Paulo, like
Capital?
east side,
Oh,
Itaquera,
Itaquera. I've heard
Yeah, I'm
about it.
from the hood, and I
Mhm.
was about to mention that, like, even in São Paulo, like you can hear some slangs in like different slangs in different neighborhoods. Like there are some slangs they say in the south zone, on the in the south side, and they don't say in the east side. For example, like it's so crazy. Like it's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
put the language in a box, right?
Sure. It's impossible.
And you mentioned also you are an interpreter and translator, right?
I am.
And do you have any like funny stories or like experience that you lived like in this profession?
Well, the most amazing is my first big event. I translated for it was simultaneous interpretation for a juice company. They
Mm-hmm.
sell juice abroad. It's a big company in Brazil. And they had hired Mário Sérgio Cortella to lecture in one of their events for their
Mm-hmm.
employees. And then they hired me as an interpreter. They told me there would be an event, an hour and a half, the day, the time, get ready. The topics will be about um, professionalism and proactive, things to
Mm-hmm.
boost the company. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I got there, I set my mic, my headphone, the cabin, the guy from the sound, and then Mario Sergio Cortella came, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna, I'm a big fan of him.
Oh
He's
yeah.
one of the contemporary philosophers that I follow, read, and love, together with Pondé, together with Karnal,
Mm-hmm.
Prioli, and so many other names. And then he was there with his accent
Oh yeah.
in Portuguese, yeah,
So
and
unique,
his,
right?
yeah, so unique. And then it was amazing because when I ended, I said, wow, I checked such a big thing on my list. I really felt proud of myself because it's Mário Sérgio Cortella. He's a philosopher. How could
Mm-hmm.
I do the interpretation of someone who's such higher in terms of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
study and knowledge compared to me? So it was really, really cool.
Nice.
And funny stories. What else? Once I was hired for 101 interpretation, which is like I had there were two people doing business, so two clients, one
Okay.
speaking English, the other one speaking Portuguese, and they said it's gonna be a 30-minute meeting. We are solving some problems. We are deciding things about the construction of something, so you just have to go there, review the contract with us, and read it over, and that's it. So okay, he sent me the contract in advance because I always get ready in advance. I
Mm-hmm.
prepare, specific vocab, and then I got there, and these two men, they were in fact they were signing the contract that day, and there
Wow.
were some controversial ideas and
Mm-hmm.
contrary ideas, and they
Mm-hmm.
started arguing, and I was there in the middle of them, and they were paying me to do the interpretation.
Oh
So
yeah.
I had to follow the same tone of voice, the same speed, and
Wow.
fight together with
Any
them.
bad
I was
words?
in the middle, and one used to say, uh, this, and that in Portuguese. And then I had to say the same exact words in English. And then I said, he's saying that, not me. And then the opposite. And then I said, ele disse isso, não fui eu. So funny.
But
Now that it's over, it's funny. But that day I was like, oh my
wow.
God, how did I end up coming here?
Any bad words you had to translate on that day?
No, it didn't get to this point. No,
Okay.
no.
All right. Good. That was a funny one. All right. So I think we're having like a good conversation, but I don't really want to steal much of your time. So I just want to wrap up things here. And would you have any advice that you would like to give for people that are learning a language, not necessarily English, but for the ones that are starting the journey? So do you have good advice for them?
Something I always tell my students, people who want English as a tool or languages as a way of um, becoming someone in life or doing something in life, what I usually say is English and languages in general, they are not only for this or that public, they are for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Languages are it's culture, it's for everyone. So if you believe that it's only for rich people, it's not. Of course, it's still hard in Brazil, in our reality, to get into or pay for a course, but there are many platforms online for free. I hold a project in a library in the city I used to live, but I still go there. It's near my city. I go there
Mm-hmm.
and I teach the community, and they've been improving so much. There are so many good results. So my advice is, first of all, believe it's for you. Traveling
Mm-hmm.
abroad, it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
Having the career you want, it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking one, two, three, many other languages, it is for you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't require special talents. No, it requires discipline and dedication. If you
Mm-hmm.
do that, find your way and stick to it. Believe it's for you.
There you go. That's such a powerful message. Such a powerful message. Good. All right, guys. So please do yourself a favor. Go on Instagram, follow Teacher Atrielle over there, right? So do you have any other social medias that you want to share?
Not at the moment.
All right, so go on Instagram, go Teacher Atrielle. You guys won't regret it. Great content, like many good things you can see there. And Atrielle, again, thanks for being here with me, like recording this
Thank
episode,
you.
and looking forward for the next one if we have the chance. All right,
Sure, it's
and
gonna be a pleasure. Thank you so much for these smart questions, for providing this content for people online. So nice.
the pleasure is all mine. All right, guys. So see you back on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.